10/27 has come and gone, and our wallets are crying. Let's dive in and see what was revealed today on Toy Habits Live.
And before we go live, smash that like button, turn on notifications, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss a beat.
Hello, everybody. You're watching Toy Habits Live. I'm the Toy Sorceress, and today I've got my special guest, amazing friend of the channel, Ken from Toy Kennections. Ken, how's it going today?
Well, I'm assuming Michael sends his regards. I just realized I didn't wish him happy whatever he's up to at this point in time. As for how I'm doing right now, I mean, like you said before we went live, we are shirtsy twinsy because you sent this a number of months back, and I'm all like, yeah, you know, we can just be a tag team right about now. You know, tag me in, hit the ring. Get the tag titles and whatnot. So yeah, I'm doing well. Right, I see your chat's hopping already, and that's great to see.
Oh my God, it's absolutely hopping. Yes, Michael is on assignment, visiting his son for the weekend. So having a fun family weekend and taking some well-deserved time off. So big shout out to my partner, Michael. And he still finds some time to squeeze in updating and doing some articles while he's on vacay. So Michael, have a great time with your family. But super happy to have you on the show, Ken. I know your love for G.I. Joe. And when I found out that Michael was going to be busy this weekend, you are the first person I thought of to ask to co-host to talk about Hasbro's 10/27 event, because we got an incredible drop for this this, I guess, not live stream, but you know, their recorded stream, and it was incredible. But before we dive into what was announced, why don't we go ahead and first off say hi to the crew and hello to the huge growing members of Toy Habits crew members out there. You guys are incredible. This list is just getting bigger and bigger. And a big shout out to Mr. Home Arcade, who twice now has gifted 10 memberships each time to all you crew members. So happy to have you aboard. Thank you for all of your support, and we can't do this without you. But
hey, look at that! I see my logo. That's kind of cool.
Your logo is absolutely there, Ken. It absolutely is. And I'm trying to pick it up because there's so many names.
It's in the first column, so near the bottom. Yeah,
right there. It's right there. And my thumbnail is like super tiny, and I'm not wearing my glasses. So, but I did see it. And the chat is hopping. So why don't we go ahead and say hi to everybody in the chat, and then we can dive into this amazing news that was dropped at yesterday's 10/27 event and continues to slowly trickle out during London Comic-Con this weekend. So Let's see who's all here. Friend of the channel, Daniel Hurin, and crew member is in the house. Ryan Daly is here. All About the Villains is here. Dave Chanelli is in the house. Crew member Giraffe is joining us. Crew member Joe Coleman, good to see you, Joe. Happy to see you in the house. He is awesome. Raph Mace, crew member, is also here. And Dan Diego, crew member and friend of the channel, is here too. Raph Mace, thank you for your $2 super chat. You are amazing. Thank you for your support. And Raph Mace says, happy Halloween weekend, folks. Love the Vamp. The Vamp is the talk of the town right now. We are all super excited. We're going to dive in.
Raid Mace is one of our best people out there.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. He is awesome. D. Griff is here. Andrew Davis is here. Eric Valdez. Crew member Dwayne Otley is here. Retro Toy Princess Allison Troy, crew member, is also in the house. Troy. Good to see you, Allison. TJC is here. Hurricane 810. KR is here. Nolan, good to see you. Nolan is also here. Naughty Octopus. Sci-Fi Tsunami. Crew member Rabbit McGaffin is here. Paul Morales. I already said hi to you, and I think we've got everybody. Welcome to all of you, whoever's joining in late. We'll be sure to catch up later in the comments. But Ken, tell me your initial thoughts now that we've all seen the Vamp. We knew that the Vamp was coming eventually. We didn't know when they were going to drop it. We didn't know exactly what it was going to look like, although we saw a cool digital render. What did you think?
Very impressed by it. I think it came as advertised, came as expected. Clutch looked pretty good. There's just it's like when the bar is here and then they hit the bar, you kind of go, okay, I guess that means pre-order. You know what I mean? I guess that means
Mhm.
lock that in, hope that it comes. Well, it shows up when it shows up, right? Like almost ordered a second one just to have like trade bait for toy shows and all that. But I'm like, no,
Yeah.
they're gonna make a lot
Yeah.
of these, and everyone who's gonna want one, who wants one's gonna get one. And you never know, they may suddenly start trickling over to fan channel type of shops, right? So yeah.
Absolutely. And at $100 a pop, it's hard to get an extra for the just in case. But the detail on this Jeep is incredible. All of the things that they included in the Vamp are just so top notch for the scale, for classified, places to stow all of the accessories. The interior looks immaculate. And the thing that's exciting about getting the Vamp, and we'll dive in this a little bit later, the Vamp equals several other vehicles, right? You got the Cobra Stinger, you got the Tiger Sting, and so on and so on. So we'll
And
talk
there's a
about that.
couple of sleepers in there. Dreadnought Ground Assault
I know, I know.
is a sleeper in that one.
I know, and there's some hints too that we're going to talk about. There were several teases, not just one that everyone thought in these Dio shots, but diorama shots are incredible. We'll dive into those in a minute. But to our surprise, Emily and Lenny did a full unboxing of this brand new Vamp and Clutch. Not only did they display it and show it off and everything, but they unboxed the thing. It's like ready to go, production ready. So this thing should be in collectors' hands not too far from the future. I actually didn't. I don't remember exactly what the date was, and maybe you noticed just because I was so busy trying to get this article out yesterday. But what the ship date was?
Said May. I think they said May. I want to say it was
Okay.
May. Someone in the chat will correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that's what it said.
Okay.
So.
Well, we can check back in on that shortly.
But knowing them, it'll show up a month early. So yeah.
Oh, everything's been showing up early. I mean, I can't even keep up. I got Tripwire the other day, and Buzzer already showed up. So things are just flowing in really quickly from Hasbro, and those things we just pre-ordered them like a few weeks ago. So it's incredible how fast they've accelerated their production and getting things out to collectors. The artwork on the front looks incredible. I'm sure you, like everybody else, noticed the tease for the Ferret, and this is the bright blue version, the mail away version on
the 92 one
with some kind of Ferret driver. Right?
Yep.
And we know this was coming because it was already a name only reveal at PulseCon. So it wasn't a surprise, but it's cool to see it on there. And there's some more Easter eggs we'll talk about later on in the stream. And what did you think about the awesome packaging, the window display for Clutch, harkening back to the vintage G.I. Joe packaging in a sense, with the window display for the driver?
It's just one of those things that like you see it and it speaks to the buyer. And the buyer just goes, yes, this brings back. I mean, it doesn't have that explosion background, or it's not exactly like. Well, I mean, here's an example of the old school box. Like here's an example of the old school box art right here with the tomahawk, right? I keep forgetting the tomahawk's actually inside. I'm thinking I'm gonna pick up an empty box, but I keep forgetting I actually put the tomahawk back in.
Yeah, don't shake your
So it doesn't have that explosion type thing there, but that doesn't matter as much. Like they still managed to, even without the retro explosion look, still give it that retro feel. And maybe it's just because of the Vamp, I don't know. But I have that sort of like, if you can't capture this exact look, you did basically the next best thing. You modernized it, but still harkened back to what we were already familiar with, right?
Absolutely. Totally agree. I love how they did that. And, the back of the box has, similar to the rest of the classified line, it shows the figure, all the accessories, all the pack out, the vehicle, and then highlights various different features like his tattoos on his wrist. And then got, like this is supposed to be cool out of all the stuff on the Vamp, like the mirrored window, like the mirror on it. There's other cool things on there like the winch and some other stuff, but it's hilarious that that's what they highlighted. And then of course the cool interior, but these are the things that they decided to highlight on the back of the box. And I don't know if anyone's really paying attention much to these like file card And I just realized I am not sharing the right screen. My apologies.
Yeah, I
I
was saying like you were.
I
I was
thought
about
this
to say
was
something.
sharing all my windows, and it wasn't. We were stuck on there we go. So I was showing you guys the front of the box before, and
Yeah.
there was the ferret, and I'm trying to
Yeah,
drive two things at
we
once.
could
So
still see these photos, but they were really small on the articles. Was happening? So I still kind of knew what you were
oh,
talking
gotcha.
about. So you were
There it is. So
okay.
I had actually
Yeah,
really zoomed in on it too when I was talking about it. But that is the bright blue version. It is my preferred version. I don't know which one
yeah.
you like, the dark
That's
blue or the bright blue.
I have the older version, right? This is the '92 mail
Mhm.
away release,
Mhm.
right? This one just
Yeah.
looks a little bit sharper. It's just that we're less
Yep.
used to it. So like when you go to a
Yeah.
vintage toy show, you're expecting to see the older '80s ferret, right?
Mhm.
So just the way it is sometimes. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I really like this one. I have the other one too, but
Mhm.
this was always my preferred version, and I'm super excited about it. And then, as I was saying, here's the back of the box, all of the pack out that comes with clutch. He's got two different removable helmets,
Mhm.
a rifle, a shovel, uh, a gun like a pistol, a wrench, which is really cool, a fire extinguisher, the two water canisters that go in the back of the vamp, and an
Mhm.
axe, which is awesome. And then here's the tattoo I was talking about, the highlight, the mirror that they decided to put on here, and then the interior of the vamp, which we will look at the cockpit or the dashboard. Really cool. What do you
So
think of the
yeah,
artwork on here
that's
on
the
the
thing,
side of
right?
the vamp?
That artwork looks good, and it's going to be a thicker box,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Is that a Steel Brigade helmet he comes with? I guess it
What was
is,
that?
eh? Is that a Steel Brigade helmet he comes with?
Yes, it is. But there's
Wow.
a little bit of an added feature to it, and you'll see it's like that the tiger grin like shark teeth
Oh yeah.
uh, design on the side, which is a really cool added feature on there. Yep.
Yes.
So, it begs the question, do you army build these? Do you get several of them? Or, you can actually take the helmet and put it on another one of your Joes because it'll fit. It's not a head, it's an actual helmet. So as long as the hair isn't out of control on whatever Joe figure you want to put it on, you can add it to another
Yeah,
figure.
it becomes harder to army build. Like with Grunt, I raised the question because
Yeah.
he's literally a grunt. I
Yeah.
know there's the name on his chest, but
Yeah.
that's one of those things you could grab a Gridiron Studios loadout, throw it on a single figure, and then make it a little bit different,
Different.
switch up the head. This one you have to get the vamp too. So unless you're also army building vamps. And then it starts to get really expensive because then you start buying loadout kits to put on this guy. It just, I don't know. Like this one's a bit less practical to army build, but if you are one of those people who wanted two vamps, it does give Clutch that extra look, right?
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Just want to give a big
Yep.
shout out real quick to a
Hello,
brand
Big
new
M.
crew member, Big M. Welcome to the Toy Habits crew. Thank you so
Yeah,
much for
Big
joining.
M.
That is awesome.
Big M was
And
just
friend
in
of
my live
yours,
chat. Yeah,
yeah, friend of yours, Willem from Willem
my
Clothing
man,
Unlimited is also here.
Will.
Good to see you. That is awesome. I'm just trying to catch up here on a couple of comments. And I see Palpatine 1975 has also joined us. And Nolan, good to see you as well. I think I said hi to you before,
Yeah,
Nolan.
yep.
But go ahead, Ken.
No, nothing. It's just I was talking to a Palpatine earlier on Instagram as well. Very nice individual.
Okay. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, everybody in the crew and in the chat, all of you guys and gals are incredible and just such a great community, so much support, so fun to hang out with and talk and chit chat and share things, all our shared experiences. So that's why we like doing this with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
This is a really cool rendering of Clutch. I love that he has his wrench, like he's just ready to go at it and start working on his vamp. And this is vehicle number 112.
Mm-hmm.
Here is just a couple close-ups. So they did a full unboxing, and I just selected a couple really cool images. But you can see that the loadout for everything has a spot. There's a place for the shovel. There's that little pack, that connects to here. You got the water canisters in the back. There's these little handles that clip onto the T-bar over on the top. And there's just a place to stow everything, so you don't have to worry about it. Oh, and then the fire extinguisher clicked on the back over here. It's great. And they included like two sets of light bars these look awesome. I mean, they're
Yeah.
translucent plastic to make it look like a light. It's not like a sticker. The detail on this is incredible. You got these two little hooks here, and there's a winch, a working winch with a rope. What do you think about that? I mean, that's so cool.
Just design just gets more and more advanced these days, right? Sculpting just gets more and more advanced. There's just so much more you can do, right? I mean, unfortunately, the downside is that price keeps going up, right? There was a time, like years ago, we would have balked at $100 price tag. With inflation being the way it is right now, it's just, you're kind of setting an expectation. You're like, oh no, what's it going to be? And you see 100, you go, wow, that's not bad at all.
Not at all. I mean, considering the scale, what's the cost of a vintage Vamp complete in nice condition right now? You should know because you're a toy dealer.
Oh, you know what? I haven't gotten one in a while, but the last time I tried to buy one, I think the person wanted like 75 Canadian, which is somewhere on the order of 55 US. And I don't know if that came with clutch. I want to say it didn't. So then you got to add another probably 15 to 25 bucks for that. So it's and it's not. I mean, that's not that far off, given that it's vintage, right?
Exactly. And then you're already at $70, $75, and here it's 100,
smaller.
but you get the $25 figure with it, and the incredible detail at this amazing scale. They've got the gun in the back with all the round of bullets coming off that thing. The seating looks incredible, and just the detailing this. It's got a suspension on it, which is really cool. So if you press down on the vehicle, the wheels, it moves. It's got a suspension on it, so that's really fun. And clutch looks absolutely classic. I love its design. They totally stuck to a real American hero style, but kind of gave him that modern edge, with the tattoos and the kind of modern haircut that he's got. I think he looks really great. And here you can see, there's the helmet with the shark teeth design on there. Great.
Yes, absolutely. Wow.
And so we'll dive into a couple teases that were in these Dio shots. I'm going to put that on hold for now, but let's just kind of go through these. So, they did mention that the engine block comes out. So if you want to pull it out, you can have your figure working on it, which is really cool. Of course the hood lifts up and he's got his wrench there. This is really cool. Did you just see what this tattoo is on his arm? It's like a girl or something.
Oh, I did not notice that. Well, they're definitely targeting adult age collectors at this point in time. If there's any thought about whether they're targeting kids, I guess not anymore.
Not anymore. That answers that question.
Times have changed.
And I know. So I have a question for you, and because you're our G.I. Joe expert here. Is this that new I think it was like that 50th anniversary Joe figure that was supposed to be air, land, and sea that they announced at HallsCon?
I can't confirm from that angle, but it does look like it's supposed to be the anniversary edition Action Soldier.
Yeah, the Action Soldier, exactly.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. And so I noticed that in there, and I just want to plus in real quick Daniel Heron's $2 super chat. Thank you, Daniel. And he says 2023 Vamp price of a U.S. flag in 1986. It's incredible to think
I know
that the flag was $100 because I literally saw one today in my favorite collectible shop I was at this morning, and it was $3,000.
That better come with a box for that price. So
no box.
Oh
but
my
it was
god!
Complete.
No, I know, but anyway,
it was it's expensive, but they had to buy it and resell it, and so it was expensive.
Wow.
But what do you think of the interior on here? I mean, look at all this detail. There's all sorts of little dials and computer screens and the whole dashboard. They really went out.
Oh yeah, big time. They absolutely went to the nines as far as the detail is concerned. You look back there, you feel like you're driving in a car. Really driving in a car. So just amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. They spared no expense.
I know. They really did. Every detail was thought of on here, and it's incredible. I'm so happy that they did that. I did not notice that Clutch looks like Lenny. That's hilarious. I think he kind of does. and he kind of has that look of Lenny in his face.
Yeah, a lot of the they did use the face of a lot of people back in the day,
Mhm.
right? You know, like Ron Rudat was Leatherneck, and Dusty was named after him, right? At least his last name,
Yeah.
right? Larry Hama was Tunnel Rat, right? Law was Bazigian,
Yeah.
Kirk Bazigian, right? It happened all the time.
Well, and the reason why is it's a lot easier to sculpt a face of somebody who's real and you can look at it than try and come up with, a unique design just out of your
Out of the blue, yeah.
out of the air. So they're like, okay, let me do a figure that looks like you, that everyone got a figure. You get a figure, and you get a figure, and you get a figure. But this view looks incredible. And you can see, there's the axe that's stowed in the back, and Lenny mentioned that this tow hitch back here would connect to maybe like land to air missile or something like that eventually. Like so he was hinting at something.
Seems like it.
Yeah. So more to come. A lot more to come. And these are the official images for just like the product shots. But you can see all of the details really clear in terms of how nice the tampoed all the tampoed details are, the stickers or the logos all over the place. And Lenny mentioned that are some Easter eggs in here. He did not point out what they are, but be super excited once we get this in hand or some closer shots to take a look at what all these little logos and things are. I don't know if you noticed anything special in terms of what was on the Vamp itself.
Not really. I was just like, ooh, green Jeep looks like what we had as kids. All right, sign me up. That's basically the extent of what I did.
I love the really big off-road tires. I'm like, are those BF Goodrich all-terrain? They're really nice.
And they're removable, apparently.
Yeah, they are. And then the whole thing, like I said, has a
suspension
that it'll bounce down when you press on it, which makes it so much more fun to drive around. Absolutely love that. But the one thing that I did want to talk about in going through those dio shots and of course the packaging, I know everybody noticed the Ferret, and that was an obvious one, and it was already a name only reveal. But in going through the diorama shots myself yesterday, I noticed in this cool image there is a little shadowy gray figure back here in the background that I don't think anyone really quite noticed. And if you zoom in on it, that is clearly a Stinger driver.
I was gonna say,
hello, we have the Vamp. The Stinger is simply a Vamp in gray with a black roof on it, and of course the Stinger driver is a Cobra officer in
the missile rack instead of the gun turret.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. And then you add the missile rack. So we want to give a big shout out to Yojo ARRH. Does these incredible customs. Actually, so sorry, black and gray. This is an awesome custom of a 6-inch scale, classified scale Cobra Stinger. And this gives you an idea of what it could look like. I mean, it's an easy repaint for Hasbro. And I think, it's an obvious next step. They put all this tooling in to build out the Vamp. So why wouldn't they make a Stinger? It's totally obvious. So what do you think of that little hint right there?
Well, here's the thing, right? Like if you go back to the early years, which a lot of people feel are the most popular. Look, the Stinger was an 84 vehicle. The Vamp was an 82 and again an 83 vehicle. So it's like you're hitting the sweet spot of G.I. Joe. Like 82 to 86 is kind of that sweet spot era, right? Like that's when the comics started. That's when the cartoons were big. Some people love an 87 as well because that's when the movie came out. And certain factions like Slaughter's Renegades got fleshed out, Cobra Law and all that. So like you're in anytime you're in that sweet spot era and you can do a repaint, like look what they did with the Ram. They repainted it right away into a Tiger Force Ram. There was no Tiger Force Ram back during that era. But the Stinger is one of those you'll have to do some extra tooling for the roof and the missile rack. But you can, if I was Hasbro, I've already thrown that into the tool.
Yeah.
Right. And then it's just going to that should already be ready to go. Like, why would you tool that separately? Or maybe you would. I don't know. I've never tooled a vehicle.
You would. And speaking of sweet spots of the 1980s in G.I. Joe, my favorite year was actually 1985. And I'll tell you why. because my friend Ken here did an incredible history of 1985 G.I. Joe video that is on his channel right now. Go to Toy Kennections, check it out. He did an awesome job archiving the entire year of all of the figures. I thoroughly enjoyed the video. I watched it multiple times. And there was a kind of cool thing on there because you had a special guest that joined you to help in that video.
Yeah. You might be familiar with her voice there. And yeah, I mean, thank you so much for your help on that. Like, you turned around your audio clip so quickly. I was still like trying to like lay out the shot pattern, like the shot list, and you'd send the audio on and it'd be like, oh, I guess the audio goes here. Oh, I guess I know exactly how long my shots are going to be now. So when we work in parallel like that, it was great. It got a lot of good reception. A lot of the names in the chat, like I see at least 10 names in the chat now that were over there, right? In the premiere of that. So thank you so much for your help on that. And when you said
a blast, I absolutely did, Ken. And if you need any collaboration in the future, I'd be more than happy to help out.
Yep. I think I figured out what happened with the gain, because you said that you thought your gain was a little high on your audio. I think what happened was it depends how you export the audio. Like, I thought, oh, it's just audio. I'll just export it in 480p. Yeah. But I think it still compressed it a little bit. So I was like, God damn it, because I thought the compression only happens with video, not audio. So
it does both, I guess. Apparently.
Always export it in 720 if you're going to do it that way, because then at least you get the high def, because the difference between HD and full HD is not that big of a difference. So anyway, very minor. Very minor.
But it was a blast. I had a lot of fun doing it. A lot of, like I said, my favorite year, a lot of my favorite characters. It brought back a lot of great memories. And, I love how you catalog the entire year of figures and vehicles and accessory packs. Such a wonderful series of videos that Ken is doing on all of the classic 1980s G.I. Joes. He's going in order. I got to see some previews of the next upcoming years. You're not going to want to miss those either. So be sure to subscribe, check out Toy Kennections. Ken is doing an amazing job. And the videos you put out are just things that are so much fun that you just enjoy to sit and kick back on a weekend or a weeknight after a long hard day of work and just watch them over and over again, because they're that much fun. So
thank you so much. Thank you so much for the kind words. It's always good to hear that from a good friend, and especially somebody who's channeled that, when you do those Wednesday or midweek streams at this time of the day, a lot of times I'm driving home listening to you and Michael talk, and I catch a bunch of the stream and a little bit more on a replay after. It's just so much fun to do, and it's just like getting these histories. 86 is ready to go. I can pretty much air that anytime. I just want to put some gap between, get some momentum on the 85 video. Let everyone who hasn't already subscribed to Toy Habits know about the channel. And, we made a really good network here of friends.
Absolutely. And all of you crew members, we did give you guys early access to that video. So hopefully you were able to take advantage of that and get that early sneak peek. But jumping back into the, maybe the future Cobra Stinger, you can see how easy it is for them to just, create the Stinger driver. We've got the Cobra officer already. It's a simple repaint, and it could just be such an awesome vehicle and made fairly quickly, because there's very little new tooling that has to go in there. Just add the little missile launcher on the back and then the roof piece, and you're good to go.
Need more room on the shelf.
I know. I'm like, oh my God, it's so exciting. But the other awesome thing is, once they do the Stinger and then they've got the roof piece on there and the back missile launcher, the next logical step is to do a Tiger Sting, which I know all of you out there are probably dying for. I do have one. I paid, quite a bit of money for it because I bought it probably a year or two ago, and that little vehicle is super expensive. But I love it. And, now that they're building out Tiger Force in Classified, it would be so awesome to get that vehicle in the line. So really looking forward to it. And, there was one more Easter egg in here besides on the illustrated artwork on the front of the package. If you look really carefully in the rock stack behind here, there is the Ferret. You can see the little red guns sticking out in the front of the Ferret right over here. But, again, another little Easter egg. that maybe not a lot of you noticed because it was right here over by Clutch's gun. But yeah, they've hidden that there. And the thing is that this is it. It's hard to tell. I mean, I guess it might be. Is this like an actual product shot or is it like a 3D? It's a Dio, right? So this is the actual product.
That's got to be the actual product.
It's got to, because you can see the joints and everything like that. Maybe it's just because it's like glossy or touched up. So does that mean that the Ferret is basically done and tooled? Like it's probably sitting back here?
No, you can artwork that up. Like you can. I know. Wishful thinking. Right? Wishful thinking. Yeah.
It is. Hey, I'm putting it out there, but you never know. So we may get that fairly soon, which is really awesome. And again, that was the tease on the box, and that was really cool. So this is a custom that we found on Etsy. You can tell it's like 3D printed because you can see all the little 3D print lines on here. But getting a Ferret in this scale is really awesome, and I would absolutely love to have my two twinsies riding shotgun together like this. That's going to be such a fun vehicle. And then with this, you get the Tiger Force version eventually as well.
Oh yeah, the Tiger Paw.
The Tiger Paw. Yep. Gotta get it. So it's inevitable that they're both on their way. So Ken, before we move on to some things that we saw at London Comic-Con, do you have any final thoughts on the Vamp reveal and these awesome teases that we got?
I just finished paying off a vintage figure that cost me a lot, and as soon as that was done, all this stuff came out, and it was like the break that I wanted just was like, all right, I guess we'll just keep going. We'll just keep going.
I know. I was actually relieved that there was only one thing that went on pre-order yesterday, because with my slew of expenses with the house, I'm just like, I can't even afford to buy shelving right now for my toy room. I gotta wait a while. So.
But you know what though? That's a good problem to have, because you're going to be in that toy room for how many years?
Oh yeah.
If you got to wait a month or two for shelving, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, it'll be. That's fine. I got one shelf so far and put it up on the wall, but I need like a series of actual bookshelves, like a lot of them for the next room. So that's what's going to be costly. This was a cheap shelf I put up, but at least I was able to get and dig out a few of my totes amongst all the boxes. I do have a little Easter egg and something special. I want to give it. Shout out to a good friend of mine who hooked me up with this Hogan. So thank you, Ken. This all the way from Vancouver. He made his way down to Southern California, and Ken was nice enough to hook me up with this LJN Hulk Hogan, which is so totally awesome. Thank you.
I took a photo of my booth at the toy show last week, and there was during the setup part. Like I finished setting up, I took a photo, I sent it to a chat group, and you're like, can I see that Hogan? And I'm like, you don't have one yet? So like before the crowd came in, I just yanked it off and tossed it into tossed it behind the and nobody else saw it after setup time. So I'm glad you like it. They don't come around very often. I mean, maybe you'll find it at Frank and Son. I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't seen them there, but if you're ever in Southern California, we got to hit that up.
Yeah, but I hear prices just keep going up on those toys, especially in that area. So,
it can get really pricey. I do have the Series 1 Hogan, so he's going to look awesome once I get that put out on display.
And now you just need the red shirt one, Sigh.
I know. Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's probably the harder of the two to find, I'm assuming.
It's slightly harder to find than the white shirt one, but they're not terribly off. They're both known as the high-priced Hogans, that's all. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. They're absolutely classic, and I love it. So thank you for sending that. So
no problem.
Today, I appreciate it. So today at London Comic-Con, we got treated to two reveals, and we already know Mutt and Junkyard are coming to the classified line. We saw them on display, fully done at San Diego Comic-Con, and today we actually got some diorama shots that were at a panel. So, somebody took these photos. We want to thank GI Shark for sharing them and, getting us a sneak peek at these images. And what else came up right before the stream is a package shot. So we're going to take a close look at that. And we got that from a really nice, more high-res version of it on Stateoverse on Twitter. So thank you so much for that. And this is the packaging for Mutt and Junkyard. And what do you notice that's different about this, Ken?
It's a window
That you haven't
box.
seen in a while. It doesn't pop right out at you that there's an actual window on the box.
No, that's what I just said though. I mean, there's a window this time. Yeah.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't hear you because you're here in front of your face. Yes.
Oh,
We're getting back to the
We're getting a window.
finally.
Yes.
We're getting a window. Window to the world.
Window
That
into
is
the
awesome.
soul.
So we all knew window packaging was going to come back. We just weren't sure when it was going to come back. And so now we absolutely see that the window packaging is back. I think, they've kind of used the same format as before. We were all wondering, was it going to be a hybrid of a little bit more artwork, less window, but the window display is rather big, which is nice. There is artwork still on the side and on the front, but you can see this awesome pack out. You got Junkyard here with his extra heads. There's a little good boy, with the little tongue sticking out, which is awesome. And all of, the extra hands and all the accessories. But what do you think of Mutt and Junkyard? Like, here we can see him.
Again, it's another one of those, see, G.I. Joe is all about that ensemble cast. While, yes, people look at Snake Eyes as the leading sort of front man, or in the cartoon, a lot of time it was Duke or maybe some of the villains. They were all about that ensemble cast. So Clutch, he's part of the must-have crew. Mutt and Junkyard, part of the must-have crew. A lot of the ones that we're talking about here, it's just you start to get the feel and the chills again of, I'm collecting real American hero all over again. You know what I mean? And for some of us, we didn't get those peak years. I didn't get to G.I. Joe until a little bit later in the 80s. I still caught the 80s, but I wasn't buying in 84. I was 2 years old in 84, right? So I wasn't able to get into it at that age. So being able to do it now is just freaking phenomenal, right?
It's awesome. And keeping these to their classic design really, really is what gets to my heartstrings, because I'm all about the vintage style. I love that, they finally, I guess a year or so ago kind of course corrected and started steering away from modernizing the design of these figures and said, okay, this is what, our collectors are all, people our age. They love to collect the figures in the 80s. There's some newer, generations out there that probably collect this, but I think the bulk of the people who love to buy G.I. Joe Classified are in our era. And this is the type of thing that calls out to them. Classic ARH designs, just like.
Let's just hope there's a cartoon to either drum up a broader range of interest among this generation, or to pass it down to the next generation, which is even better. Right. Because I kind of feel like the G.I. Joe fan base, while it feels big, I still think it's a very dedicated, smaller audience compared to a larger audience with a lot of casuals. So maybe I'm wrong, but it feels that way.
Yep. I totally agree with you. And it looks like, everybody is loving the look of this figure. He looks incredible. He looked really great when he was on display at San Diego Comic-Con. And here we have some diorama shots. I totally love, Junkyard looks like he's about to rip someone's face off. He looks hungry. That is great. And here he is relaxed, and he just had a doggy treat. So he's smiling. But it's funny because, Mutt's got his face guard on, but Junkyard's sitting here chilling out and super happy pappy as a dog right there. So it's kind of a funny conjecture, having both of them together in totally different moods. But when we get all of the full official reveal images, we will update you. It's awesome to get the sneak peek from London Comic-Con. And the other figure that was featured today was Metalhead.
Yes.
All of these photos, by the way, can be found on toyhabits.com. You go ahead and head over to our website. Michael did an incredible job putting these articles together. So big shout out to Michael. Thank you so much for taking care of that this morning. And we got to also see Metalhead in his package. And this is incredible. Ken, what do you think about this? I mean, look at all of those missiles and blast effects that he comes with, and he's just fully packed out.
God. Iron Grenadiers, and then they announced the Iron Grenadiers. And then Destro will probably get an Iron Grenadiers release, which means I need the freaking Gridiron Studios throne, which I'm going to pull up on my phone here because that would look so good. That would look so good with this. Like there's the classified scale. Oh, come on. It's telling me that I can't load the website. Stupid thing. Anyway, of course, as I'm live, I'm trying to load something, and it's like, and it's like you can't. I'm like, who the hell said? Okay, let me go off of Wi-Fi and reconnect this. But point being is there's a throne from Gridiron Studios that I'm a really, really big fan of. And oh, there it is. There it is. Just went to Google Images. Right? See that throne right there? The Game of Thrones throne.
So cool.
Right?
Yeah.
And they did it again in the gold with the Pimp Daddy. They have the Pimp Daddy Destro sitting there.
Oh, that's awesome.
But imagine the Iron Grenadiers Destro sitting on that one.
Wow. That's gonna look incredible. And we'll go over the name only reveals in just a few minutes. But this guy is totally loaded out. He looks incredible with all of his missiles, his missile launchers. Look at this mug. Like the look on his face. You like don't want to mess with this guy.
Don't F with me kind of look.
Yeah. Yeah. He is the Rio Blast of G.I. Joe, so which is really cool.
He's a little bit. Yeah. I was gonna say he's a bit cooler than Rio Blast, but then I realized Metalhead was kind of a bonehead in the cartoon. He just had a cool looking toy. So
yeah. Absolutely. Real Blast was an awesome figure.
He was though, to be fair.
He was. I actually do have him up there on the corner of my shelf. Like way on the edge. I don't know if you can see him, but he's on display over there. Big shout out to the Baroness of Toys who got me that Real Blast, and I absolutely love him.
God, I love vintage. I love vintage Motu as well. Like that was one of the things I got last weekend was the vintage Castle Grayskull.
I saw. So while I scroll down to this, Ken, fill us in on your incredible haul. I saw that you got the vintage Castle Grayskull. Such a great find. You did really well at the toy show that you were at.
Well, I got the vintage Castle Grayskull, and then I bought the Talon Fighter with Point Dread, so it could go on top. And then I got some of the vintage figures as well. And then I got the LJ, like we're just talking LJ, and I got the steel cage in the box for that. I'm not even sure if I got any GI Joe items at the show. Now that I'm talking about it here.
No, I don't think you did, right?
I don't think I did, right? I got the Mattel Creations. Yeah. It was a Motu and wrestling kind of weekend because I got the Mattel Creations Muhammad Ali 2-pack where he was one of the figures was he was the ref for WrestleMania 1, like that one. Yeah. So yeah. Now that I think about it.
What'd you think of the vintage Talon Fighter? It's incredible how the Motu Origins one looks so much like it. But like, engineering improved, of course. I do have a vintage Talon Fighter as well. And did it have the insert on your Point Dread? Like mine
did not have the insert, right? The Castle Grayskull had the insert.
I can get you a replacement.
Oh, you've got you've got the printout for the replacement?
I do, and I have somebody who can get it for you. Actually, the Baroness of Toys makes them. So
I should have known. I should have known. That's a funny story about the Talon Fighter because when it was a table across me that had it, and he didn't know what it was. So I'm like, oh, that's a Talon Fighter. Like he's setting up. I set it up for him, and then he puts it with a different Castle Grayskull, like not the one that I got from a different table. He just had the shell, and he priced the whole thing really high. And I said, you don't want to do that because this Talon Fighter is basically complete, no insert, but it's a really desirable piece on his own. And the other one's just a shell, the Castle Grayskull. And he asks me, oh, what should I price it at? And I go, oh, about 60 Canadian would be about right, which is 45 US, right? So I came by towards the end of the show because nobody had bought it yet, and I'm like, so what can you do for me? And he goes, I could do 60 for you. And I'm like, you can't do 50? And he's like, 60 for you. So I buy it and I leave. And I'm like, wait a second. I buy it and I leave. I'm like, wait a second. Before like 48 hours ago, you didn't even know what it was. You asked me to price it for you. You wouldn't like I understand not giving someone a deal, but then and I don't know why I even asked him for a deal. It was just in the back of my mind when he said, no, I just bought it. I was like, no, the reason, because the gears were turning a little too fast. And if they weren't turning too fast, they weren't turning at all. And I think in my head, You wouldn't have known what it was. If the show had started and I had just told you it was just some dollar store junk that I'll happily give you $15 for, he would have done it then. And I'm sitting there, I'm like,
I know.
what the heck?
You have to prepare here to do that, but he should have given you a deal on it.
Well, that's just, and he was like, yeah, you're really, really nice to me, but I really want 60 on it. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And when I walked away, I was like, wait a second here. You didn't even know how the perch went. You didn't know that the Talon Fighter went on top of the Point Dread. You thought the Point Dread went with the Gray Skull. You didn't know where the wings went. You didn't know where the radar went. And I'm just like, why didn't I just say put it in the parts bag and I'll buy it at the end of the show if nobody wants it? Why did I just do that? But then it comes down to integrity, right? So
you never want integrity.
Yeah. Anyway. Sorry, just a whole nother. That just makes for a hilarious story at the end of the day. That the gears weren't turning in my head about why did I ask for the deal?
Maybe the $60 you paid for it's worth the story alone.
That's the thing, right? And he was really nice to me on previous deals, right? Yeah, exactly. But you know what though? Like 4 or 5 people showed interest throughout the show. So maybe he completely forgot what happened Friday night and then just said, first person to give me full price gets it. Because as soon as I got it, somebody else came and said, "Damn, Ken snapped it up."
But you got an awesome deal, and I will hook you up with the insert, and then it'll be absolutely complete. So
awesome! I love it. Thank you so much.
Yep. Yeah, not a problem. So we got 2 name-only reveals at yesterday's event, and they were Raptor and Iron Grenadiers. So Raptor, of course, is known as a Cobra Falconer. He was released in 1987. Kind of a more obscure character, but a lot of people really like him. And he had that little falcon cape that he wore and little, falcon headdress, and of course came with his winged buddy right here, the falcon. This is a really cool figure, and we did find a awesome custom by Yojo ARH on Instagram. And everyone was wondering, is this Hawkman? Which is, big shout out to Michael, because he hooked me up with such a funny story. I was looking, I really wanted the new McFarlane Hawkman that came out, but like the one that came out it's a different colorway. It's based on some comic book. I don't remember exactly what it was. And then I saw an image of the classic Superpowers Colors Hawkman, but found out it was a chase figure. And I'm like, where the heck do I buy it? I don't know where to find this thing. I started Googling it. And I come across a listing for Big Bad Toy Store. And when I clicked on it, it said sold out. And then I wanted to kick myself like, oh my God, it had come up for sale on Big Bad Toy Store. And it was like $50. But anyway, so for the heck of it, Michael was shopping at Target. I don't know if he was like near his house or out of town. But I said, hey, if you're at Target, just what the hey, like if you see this, and I sent him an image of the Superpowers Colored Hawkman, pick him up for me. Just,
and it happened to be there.
Carrying things at the wind. And half an hour later, he walked by an uncap and he freaking found it there. And this thing is really hard to find. It's a chase figure.
So it is a decent. It is a McFarlane multiverse then.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, is it the Kenner
in the classic colors?
Okay.
Here, I'll zoom in on it. But
okay. Now I can see the detail a bit better. Because from far away, I was just gonna guess it was one of the 2000s DC Universe classics. But I can tell zoomed in now that it's McFarlane.
Brand new. Yeah, this is the McFarlane version, but just in his awesome classic color scheme. But it's just, I only bring this up because everyone's asking, did Hawkman get an upgrade? But this is a custom version of Raptor, and I think he looks really cool. You can see his falcon here, but this is just trying to give you an idea if they did something a little bit more modernized for the classified version. Maybe not going with a soft goods winged cape, but more of actual wings in the kin of Hawkman, what he could look like, and he has kind of falconized feet as well. So again, big shout out to Yojo ARH. Check out their Instagram channel, and they do some incredible custom. It's kind of a go-to for us to take a look at what ifs in the classified line, because they're doing like really incredible work with these custom figures. And the second reveal that we got was Iron Grenadiers, and just like you said, Ken, can't wait for the Destro version of him.
Yep.
That's gonna be really cool. Like, how awesome would that be? And then you can get your throne.
I haven't really
Right?
gotten very deep into the sub teams yet.
Mm-hmm.
And Iron Grenadiers is going to be the one. Like Iron Grenadiers and Marauders can probably be what breaks me into the proper sub team genre. Like
Yeah.
I haven't caved on Tiger Force as much as I absolutely adore Tiger Force.
Really?
I haven't
Mhm.
caved yet. I guess there'll be some Night Force figures coming with the Dragonfly, but Iron Grenadiers I won't be able to withstand.
Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna have to. And I am just like a sucker, and I even got, raccoon version of Flint for the Tiger Force Flint, which with the raccoon
No, I
eyes, I
know.
always call it.
I saw that I saw that at Toys R Us the other day up here, and I looked at it and I'm like, no, I'm not going to. But I was thinking about it on the way out, and I was like, should I? It's just
If you get past the face paint, the rest of them is really cool. I love the tiger print on the pants and everything. He just looks cool. So I'm like, I had to buy
he
him.
does.
But
He is so cool.
he is cool. So I'm a sucker for everything Tiger Force, so I have to get it. Just absolutely love that sub team. But this is a really awesome custom by Stronix Customs. You can find them on Instagram as well. And this is like a really great look at what a 6-inch classified scale series figure would look like.
Have you ever talked to
definitely
Tony's
check them out.
Figs? You ever talk to Tony's _figs on Instagram? He does a lot of great
I
custom
haven't.
classified stuff as well.
Really?
He's a really good friend of
Really?
Black Genghis and Paints Toy Samples, who's in the chat. So,
Cool.
yeah, I'm gonna send you his Instagram account because he's another. I mean, all these are fantastic as well, but I also wanted to just make sure that that in case a character comes up that you don't have, from the current customizers.
It's hard to find. No, absolutely. I need that in my holster of reference information because I love to find customs to give people ideas of what these pipeline reveals may look like. And that is also an amazing source to have. So I appreciate it.
I just sent it to you. I'm sure that we'll all cross paths. Yeah, because we all sometimes show up on Oz's channel or Paints Toy Samples channel or something. We all kind of have common friends. He shows up there too. It's just the streams that you've been on, he hasn't been. So yeah, there you go. Allison's aware. So yeah,
Allison knows him. So yeah, definitely check out Tony's Instagram channel. That is super cool. Can't wait to see what he's got on there. And so Giraffe says, I hope they do a Serpentor treatment with Iron Grenadier, Destro, and his spoiler vehicle. Oh my god, that would be really, really cool.
Yeah, that's what it's gonna be. I mean,
it's gonna be a spoiler. Vehicles, they're a thing now, right? Absolutely is a possibility to get those, and I just need to find this thing. Let me head back up to our homepage, and I don't know if you have anything else on G.I. Joe news. We'll be covering any other awesome breaking things happening from London Comic-Con this weekend. But one thing that Michael found actually this morning is on Entertainment Earth's Drop Zone.
Oh yeah,
on Halloween of all nights. Actually at 10 a.m. Pacific time and 2 p.m. Eastern, there is a mystery drop that says "Say yo" to this awesome launch of secret figures from Hasbro. So we're gonna have some more pre-orders coming up on Halloween. You're not quite out of the woods yet, Ken. It looks like we're gonna have to drop some more bucks on some new figures and take a look at this awesome Halloween post by Michael and see what our potentials could be. Could it be Metalhead and Mutton Junkyard? Perhaps. Can it be some of the other reveals that we saw at Hasbro PulseCon that have not come up? And then you can see
Retro Duke, right?
Yeah, Retro Duke, Retro Scarlet. We know already that they're not Walmart exclusives anymore, so absolutely makes sense that they could be up on Entertainment Earth. Also, you got the SMS that maybe might be upcoming. And if you do order from Entertainment Earth, by the way, if you use code TOYHABITS, you can get 10% off anything they have in stock and free shipping on orders $79 or over. And it helps support the channel, so we really appreciate it. if you want to go ahead and do that. And saving 10% is always awesome. So I love using our coupon code. Yeah, which is awesome. Oh, the other thing we did want to talk about, and you can see there's the tow hitch on the his tank for maybe an upcoming SMS. And then we got Big Boa that was named. There was Airborne that was also a digital render release. Quick Kick, which is an awesome figure. I can't wait for him. I love his classic design. And we also had Techno Viper and Retro Scarlet, Retro Duke that we talked about. Retro Recondo. That one is a very good possibility because he's already Tool, so that might be it. It would be incredible. Or maybe here it is. That was it.
That's got to be it. It's the action
60th anniversary figure. He's already done. He was sitting in the Vamp with Clutch.
He looks so good. Look at that loadout.
You know what they need to do? You know what they need to do? Like, I would love and be over the moon if they did like a head pack out of the adventure team with like flocked hair.
I would love
flocked beard.
I mean, I would love to get the adventure team.
Mm-hmm.
You would need a Joe Colton figure too.
Oh my god, totally. I have like the reissue of the adventure team, which I totally love, and the 12-inch scale ones, and they have the full hair, and it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I've been trying to track down a good condition talking adventure team commander if I can find one. Right.
That's awesome.
I'd love one of those.
That's awesome.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, they are super cool. The other thing that we did get to see yesterday amongst all of the news was a His Tank unboxing. And I don't know if you watched the video by Emily and Lenny, but they basically, they unboxed the entire His Tank, took a look at the incredible packaging, all of the amazing artwork on there. It's got this really cool, like his, Cobra logos on there, which is just amazing. Love the red line blueprints on the back. This is hearkening to classic G.I. Joe. I mean, they went all out with just the box alone. What'd you think of the presentation on just the package on that?
It fires on all cylinders, and it's worth the wait for the people who back this.
Yes.
Right? They're gonna come in, and it's gonna be a Christmas morning experience for a lot of people who get this. So,
So did you back the His Tank?
Not directly. I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to. I canceled my pre-order, and then somebody messaged me after saying, "Do you want the tactician and the gunner?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll do that." So I'm going to end up with a tactician gunner. So I'm not going to get anywhere near the full experience, but I will get a very partial, somewhat representative experience. So I can talk to people who did back it, because, like I said, somebody doesn't want a couple of his figures. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is shipping, I think, in the next month or so.
That's what I heard.
So very soon, we should be getting it. And they did an incredible job. It comes in these 2 separate boxes within the awesome exterior packaging. You've got the His Tank in this large box, and then the figures are in this like smaller extra display box there. And when you pull that out, it's got the awesome pack out, and then the figures are beautifully displayed in here. They're all individually boxed and numbered. You got the tactician that's signed by Ron Rudak, which is incredible. And then it's like, I want to kick myself, but like I couldn't afford to do this at the time. Like Michael had ordered 2 His Tanks. I'm sure he's going to sell off the rest of the package, but he wanted to keep a carded retro, Mickey Mouse Cobra Commander on card and then open one, which was brilliant of him, because when I saw what that figure looks like on card, which we'll get to lower in here, it was just so awesome. But Lenny went through all of the details on the His Tank. The little turret, the cockpit with the seatbelt in there, and the working like joystick and throttle, the treads that just roll incredibly on here. And it makes me feel a little bit jealous of the fact that I own a Super 7 Thunder tank, and getting that thing to move and getting the treads to roll is like really hard. It doesn't roll very well. And it's supposed to, right? Like that, but it's big and it's heavy. So I get it. But like Lenny rolled this thing like it was butter. And then you got that nice little tread sound of it kind of clanking around, and it was incredible. It's awesome.
Hopefully it goes in reverse just as well, because those Cobra tanks were retreating all the time.
I know, right? He's always like, retreat. always screaming, going back the other way. But it's super cool. You know, you got the gun turrets that are totally articulated on the top, and all the little missiles that attach here. There's like those little ports that like pop open. You can attach those side missiles to it. The various different canopies. This one I think is the one that's like, it opens up like a gull wing, and then you can lift the top as well. Mm-hmm. It's got a chin gun in the front. And of course, if you all remember, it also has that Cobra logo that comes off from the light that you press the little button. It's battery powered, which is awesome. You got like a Cobra logo that comes out in insignia, which is super cool. Yep. And Lenny did point out the tow hitch on the back. We all know SMS is coming, so it might be sooner than we think.
You know why?
There you go. Yeah, and a really awesome interior here where you can, you know, it's got like these little pegs for all of your weapons, and then this little jump seat in the back to put one of your figures riding in there, and it's adjustable. And then incredible decals, so you can customize your his tank in whatever design you want and add all these awesome decals in there. But the thing that like really got me was the packaging for the figures, and they come numbered 99 through 101. They're all individually numbered. The packaging is so cool for these. They're absolutely unique. They don't look, like anything else you're going to get in the classified line, because they've got that like his, Cobra insignia on it. And the back has these really awesome red line like blueprints of the figures, which looks super cool. And the neat thing is about these, you don't really need two for this. You could just take your figure out of the box carefully, close it back up, and then it looks like you got a mock card, because you don't know what's inside. So it's still
that's the one. That's one of the things that makes the closed window packaging, like, there's one of the few advantages of it.
Yes, so. We all know a bunch of the disadvantages, like figure swaps and missing parts and all that stuff. But assuming you get something directly from factory or from Hasbro, you don't have to worry about that, and you can keep it closed. That was the thing. I always thought that companies were like Hasbro was losing money with their closed packaging, because us mock collectors would buy two figures if you want to keep one to open and keep one to keep closed, and now there's no need to do that anymore, because it doesn't matter. You can't tell what was inside, and so they were probably losing sales, because then you only needed to have one of each. And Baroness of Toys is here. Want to give a big shout out to her. So excited for the HasLab Hiss. Hey, Baroness, I am going to hit you up because Ken bought a vintage Talon Fighter and Point Dread, and he needs that cardboard insert. So I'm going to talk to you about it. Let's help Ken get one of those. She'll be able to help. So I'll hook you up with that.
I appreciate this.
The one thing that was so cool, and tell me what you think about it, is the retro Cobra Commander, and they made the card back thicker. They added the white piping around the edges. Of course, it is. And my apologies, I zoomed in way too much. My computer's flipping up. Of course, I did not open this on a separate window, and now my computer is kind of going a bit slow, and my apologies. So I'll just leave it there. They did learn a lot by keeping that accessory bubble separate, so you don't have like one ginormous plastic bubble on here. And this is a really cool card back, and now it is zooming way too much. So I am going to open this in a new tab so we can look at Coco and not deal with my computer screen anymore. There you go. So there he is. Mickey Mouse Cobra Commander on card, looking incredible, and can't wait to get this one in hand. I'm going to unfortunately have to open mine.
That's totally okay.
Look who is here. Mega J Retro. huge shout out to our friend Mega J. How are you doing? Love that you are in the chat. Thanks for joining, my friend.
Yep, and he did a 1027 stream last night with Chaz the Guru and Usual Mike. I popped in for the last 45 minutes or so, and yeah, we had a blast. So that was my cheat sheet coming into today. So everything I missed, I caught up on, and then I came in today and pretended I knew all along.
That is so funny. Mega J, if you're free, I can send you the link. I know we're kind of wrapping this up, but we can talk a little Motu after this. I'll send you the link real quick. But yeah, I am super excited about getting this figure. I can't wait. And what do you think he's going to be like crazy expensive on the aftermarket to get?
Yeah. There's no two ways about this one. Mind you, when people do parse out the carded figures in the Sky Striker, they're not that bad.
Yeah.
So maybe on this one, it is the Mickey Mouse ear, so it's a little bit of a wild card.
Yeah. So
that's why I'm hesitant. So maybe you can get it before it truly spikes.
Yeah, I know. I think maybe the good game plan to do is don't try and buy it right away because prices are going to be really high when it first gets into collectors' hands. Wait a little while, then the market will kind of get flooded with them. The price will eventually drop to something a little bit more reasonable.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, because there are people who back multiples of these, and then they'll be stuck, and the scalpers will run out. No worries, Mega J. I know you're just popping in to say hi. Of course, you are always invited on our stream, so I wanted to extend that invitation too. But this is really cool, and if you want to see the full unboxing video, there is a link on our website, or you can go to Hasbro Pulse on YouTube and find that. And before we wrap up, I'm just going to circle back to some Motu news that hit this week. We have King of the Snake Man, this new book by Axel Jimenez and Leonardo Vega that's coming out. Very, very cool with, the origins of the Snake Man and art. It's an incredible book. I know that was just launched on, I think I saw that on Instagram just before our stream started. Haven't gotten to dive into that too much, but big shout out to Axel and team.
I just got this book actually recently. So.
Oh, I love that book. What do you think of it?
It's so good. It's so good. I don't want to put it down. Like there's so much stuff in there, but unproduced concepts and all that. Perfect complementary piece to your coffee table Pixel Dan book, the Battle Around blog, and for the people who are fortunate enough to have Power and Honor Foundation Volume 1, which I don't have, but it's a complementary piece to that. The Snake Men book, I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of the Snake Men, but I could see myself buying that book just out of curiosity. So
yeah, I have all the Dark Horse books. Like they're all incredible. So any of them that you don't have, Ken, I highly recommend. There is a great one by a little known YouTuber, Pixel Dan. I'm totally kidding.
That's the one.
Did an awesome job on the Toys of Masters of the Universe. I love that book.
I like that one. Yeah,
you got to do a sequel and get some origins in there because he stopped just short of origins.
I know.
Absolutely.
I know.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah. How many other Dark Horse books are there?
What was that?
How many other Dark?
I have?
Yeah.
There's several of them, but
yeah.
There is
Allison and Oz recommended this one to me. So
there's He-Man and She-Ra, which is really cool. This one over here.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, they're heavy. And I don't have all of them unpacked.
Yeah, I can tell. This one is heavy.
3 or 4 books. I can once I get them all unpacked, I can send you what all the titles are. But they're all great.
I'm just gonna see whether this book is as heavy as the belt. You know what I mean? That's how heavy it is.
You know which one you got to get, Ken? Which I totally recommended. I don't have it unpacked right now, but it's the Dark Horse book with all the mini comics. It's a little bit smaller, but super thick. That's a great book, and it's not expensive, and it's a great read. You'll totally love it. I like the unproduced concepts that are in here because
that makes for good video content.
It totally does. And I use these when I do my research too, and to write articles and stuff, and to get like historic information. I absolutely love to go back in there and take a look at them. Some of the things that we got this week in terms of Motu news was there was artwork dropped for Man at Arms and Skeletor, and the Man at Arms artwork teased Ram Man, which is awesome. So could we be getting a Filmation version of Ram Man, perhaps? What do you think of the Filmation version of the Origins figures so far?
So, I mean, Super 7 did do the 5.5-inch Filmation style a few years ago, but they did not have the knee or elbow articulation, right?
Yeah.
So those look really, really good. They really, really pop on the shelf. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. Thank you, Baroness. But to get them into Origin style with the extra articulation, I think it's time, Yeah, there you go. The Beastman, right?
Beastman is awesome. I totally love how he came out. That face is like right out of the cartoon. And I'm all in on these figures. Like, I'm super excited about it. Can't wait. And I hope they make Ram Man have a goofy look on his face, just like he did in the cartoon series.
Yeah. Keep him looking inept.
That's the Ram Man we love. Yeah.
Yes. The inept looking.
The inept looking one, which is super cool. And then we did get the card art for Skeletor as well. And that was teasing, much less known figures, but Aaron and Una are the couple that he got to go retrieve the masks of power, and then they put those on and transformed. But there were teases of them as well on his card back. So could we see some of these deep cut characters? Maybe, who knows? They were on the card back, so there they are in the Mask of Power episode of the Filmation cartoon. And then they turned into Demos and Chirella. So there's so many different characters that they can make for the Filmation cartoon collection.
Well, which one I would have wanted in the Mattel Creation style, even though a few people hinted at it that it never happened, was the 87 Powers of Grayskull Gigantosaur, or how do you say it? Gigantosaur or Gigantosaur, however you say his name. The Brontosaurus.
Yes.
Giganosaurus, there you go. Right. That's the one that I was surprised never made it to a Mattel Creations, but we got some years ahead of us, right?
We do, and I think we'll get there. And of course, you all know the one that I'm like totally dying for is Hero. The Super 7 version.
Yes, I would absolutely. I've got the classics version of them.
Me too. Yeah.
Because the whole notion about unproduced. I mean, they keep calling it 87, but wasn't there was a line in 87 already? It's like the movie line and a few figures came out. I think Scareglow came out in 87. So shouldn't Hero have been 88? That's weird. I don't know why they always call it 87. They always call it 87.
Why they call it 87, but yeah, he absolutely would have been part of 88, and he was going to be the new heroine hero in the line to take over He-Man and then bring us into
maybe it was developed in 87 and it was going to come out in 88, or maybe it was going to come out end of 87. I don't know, right? So yeah,
which is awesome. And there also is right after Halloween. So after you're busy eating your candy, spending your money on whatever the Entertainment Earth G.I. Joe mystery drop is going to be on Halloween morning, the next day on November 1st, there is a mystery drop also for Motu scheduled for 12 a.m. Pacific. So if you stay up late, so that's midnight after Halloween, if you're so inclined to see what it is, there is a mystery drop for Motu on Entertainment Earth. Could it be Snout Spout? Because this thing shows Masterverse and Origins. It's written right here, Masterverse / Origins. So we don't know. Snout Spout was shown at San Diego Comic-Con, but he has not come up for pre-order yet. So can we be getting him? Perhaps. Or, for Origins, we know that the other things that were shown at San Diego Comic-Con, like Cyclone, like Stone Dar, like who else do we get on there that we have not gotten yet? Sorry, it's evading me at the moment. But there were several Origins figures that have not been released yet We know that those are going to be Mattel Creations exclusives. They've got very, extensive tooling to them, but we're thinking that it may be the Turtles of Grayskull line that will be coming out. We already know that they look like they're ready to go in production. So could we be getting pre-orders for Turtles of Grayskull? I don't know. And what are your thoughts on these figures?
Impulse buy type of thing, right? Like, it wasn't one of those things that I was sitting there saying, okay, that's on my list. Then you see it and you go, okay, I'm not sure I'm going to pre-order this. A lot of people will. Yeah. They'll really, really like it. For me, it might be an impulse buy type of scenario. Like, if I get a chance to see it in person, and I'm sorry, I missed whether you said how they would get released, but like, let's say some time goes by and somebody sells a used one at a toy show, that would be an impulse buy kind of deal for me.
Yeah.
Right.
I was at first, and I got to see an early glimpse of these, and I'm not going to relive that, I call it my PTSD moment. But, the first glimpse we had, I was kind of like cringing, like, good, they'll save me money. But now that I've actually seen them, and I see their card backs and the amazing artwork and just, because I'm a Turtle fan, right? But, oh my God, having an illustration of He-Man and freaking Leonardo in this like awesome Motu style on the front, like they got me right there. That is super, super cool. So I may have to pick these up, and we'll see if they do go up for pre-order, but they're looking awesome. And I may have to just pick up the whole first wave, which would be Leonardo, Donatello, Man-at-Arms, and of course we got mutated He-Man, which is in that cool translucent color. And I'm such a sucker for translucent plastic toys. So I don't know. It never ends, like these just look so cool. That's a hint for Beastman there. I'm letting my computer catch up with the loading. Donatello looks awesome in his Man-at-Arms outfit. And Man-at-Arms looks really cool too with he's turtleized. But he looks incredible in his little like kind of samurai inspired outfit as well. And Krang is Megator, like Megator inspired. I didn't even at first we were like, why is he green? And of course he is Megator inspired. But there is Man-at-Arms looking super cool, and his turtle shell turns into a shield. I mean, that is awesome, Ken.
Like, and I'm just trying to think, like, does Metalhead automatically become Roboto? Like, it's just. Mm-hmm. How does that work, right? So
I'm sure he probably does. Let me let this one load up. But at first I was like, why is He-Man purple, and why does he have green hair? And like, that's kind of weird. But then I saw the actual figure, and I was like, damn, he's translucent, and he's like buffed up, and I don't know. Like, then you think of like, this could be Slime Pit He-Man eventually, right? They could just make a green version of this, and then you got a Slime Pit He-Man, which is really cool. And this is all translucent.
They could make the holy grails of each line like merged, like Scareglow the cat or something instead of Scratch the cat or something.
Yeah,
I don't.
Oh my God, you're so right. How cool would that be? So, these are looking awesome. So possibility that these may be going up for pre-order on at midnight after your Halloween tricks or treats. So be sure to check out Entertainment Earth. That is going to drop. And if you go through our website, you just click on the link on the top, or just use code Toy Habits at your checkout. Again, you'll save 10% off in-stock items and free shipping over $79. In other news, we did get the Crimson Strike team. It started shipping out to collectors. I did get them in hand, so there's some awesome photo shoot in there. And then Michael did an incredible job at Ghost Jaga, and I do want to share mine. Just came yesterday.
I did see that video, and because I have the regular Jaga, and I didn't realize that the belt buckle detail was so different on the Ghost version. So
yes, they're actually, the regular Jaga does not have a belt on him.
That's what I mean.
The version does not. Yeah, and then this one does, because sometimes in the cartoon he was shown with a belt, and sometimes he wasn't. But in his Ghost version, this is how you typically saw him. But they did an incredible job. Like, the translucent plastic on this looks so awesome. I love his little power glow on on his hand. But this is a really cool figure, and this would go with your vintage Thundercats figures or your Ultimates. It would fit in perfectly
That's
in
what I
either
was
one.
thinking. Yeah, because the scale still works for the vintage Thundercats
Oh,
more
the
or less.
scale's perfect. But and speaking of, hold on a second. Let me
Yeah,
grab my off the
I
shelf
forgot
here.
if they made Jaga for the vintage line or not. Did they?
What was that?
Did they make Jaga? I feel like they did make a Jaga for the vintage Thundercats line, didn't they?
I've got him right here. So this
Oh,
is the
you went to
LPN.
get it, right?
He's sitting on the shelf behind me. My vintage Thundercats are now up on display on the shelf behind me there, and this is vintage Jaga. You can see he has no belt, which the same Super 7 Ultimates one doesn't either.
Right.
But this scales perfectly with him. Same scale. They look great, and this is what I love about the Ultimates figures because they're
because it's scale.
perfectly.
See, the thing is, usually when you display a modern figure with a vintage figure, people will notice a difference in style. But the translucency of it takes away attention from the joints and the articulation and things that make it look modern. So with the translucency of it makes it look like you can just fit it on the vintage shelf because this thing that stands out about it is the translucent look, not the articulation, not the joints, not the modern look. So
absolutely. So he fits in perfectly, and I can't wait for the LJN version of Jaga who's coming out next year. This was already up for pre-order as one of the previous waves, and I'm so excited for the version of him. Do you have any of the Thundercats Ultimates figures?
Yeah, I do. I do have a few of them. I have the regular Jaga, which is why I was able to, like when Michael pointed that out, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, right? I got what do you call it? Lino, Chitara, a few of them, right?
Awesome. Did you pick up the LGN color of Lino?
No, just the regular version, just the other version.
The regular. I gotta tell you, and I'll grab my Lino in a second.
Yeah.
Let me just pull them down.
Yeah, the one I don't have is Tigra. So.
Oh yeah, Tigra's great. I actually really love Tigra. My Ultimates are still packed in a box. I can't find them at the moment. This isn't obviously the Super 7 one. This is the vintage one. But when I opened up Ken the LGN Super 7 Ultimates color, toy version of Lionel, it absolutely brought me back to my childhood. I don't know how to explain it, but in that style that he is, and with the articulation and everything, but it's like the classic version. There's the second tooling of Lionel. It's not the first tooling, right? So the second tooling of Lionel doesn't have the pins and the joints. It's pinless. It looks a little bit different. I don't think he's as like lanky. He has a little slightly better proportion to him. Totally brings me back to 1985. So if you have the opportunity, I highly recommend getting one of those. As a matter of fact, we were talking about this with the gang at CDR, and then Eduardo, that was the translator. I told this story to him about how when I opened up that Super 7 Ultimates line, it brought me right back to my childhood. And he actually picked one up recently and said that he had exactly the same experience. So highly recommend getting the Super 7 version of them if you love these vintage Thundercats.
Fingers crossed. That's not a middle finger. That's fingers crossed.
Yeah. Okay. We'll have to try and get that one for you.
I'll find a way. There's always places nearby here that we can make it work.
Fantastic. The things that you show me at your toy shows, like I was watching your toy hunt video at the toy show you were just at in Vancouver like last weekend, and I was like, oh my god! I'm like, like the Ghostbusters Firehouse and like this and that. You're like so many things. You're just like, just panning by the camera, and I was like drooling over, absolutely drooling over it. That it was like sitting right there in front of you. Then you had the opportunity to buy it. Like we don't in LA, we don't get toy shows like that, like how you guys do. I'd have to drive down to like Frank and Sons, and there's some cool stuff there. You find kind of things that are like more modern that are released, or some vintage things, but they're really high priced, but not to the effect of the incredible items that I was seeing at that toy show that you were at.
Well, could you imagine that I couldn't even stop to really look at the Technodrome, the Sewer Lair, and the Firehouse, because what happened was I bought the Castle Grayskull When I left, the guy basically had a giant size hole in his display. So what does he do the next day? He puts the freaking Technodrome into that space on the Sunday, and I'm just like, where does this stuff come from? How does it just pour out? Right?
He jumped in his DeLorean back to 1985, went to Toys R Us, bought one, came back, and then put it on his display. I don't know where he's getting this stuff.
Well, that's what it is. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, look at how much I bought, but look at how much I left behind. Like, do you think I don't want a Technodrome, a sewer layer, a firehouse? You know, right?
I know. How much is that firehouse, by the way?
I didn't ask him. I would have wanted to ask. I did not ask the question. I would have.
I was totally like drooling.
The sign was a little bit beat up on that one. He just didn't have another sign, but he just put whatever he had on there. It was a bit beat up, but it was more than serviceable.
Totally. It looked incredible. Yeah, Ghost Jaga is like super cool. Michael did an awesome in-hand review. If you go over,
I saw that. Yeah,
you can watch that. I love the review, Michael, that you did. And here is still images of Jaga also. If you
and a week ago he did the Mondo Trap Jaw as well.
Mondo Trap Jaw. Wow, that's shipping out to everybody as well. And he looks incredible. Like that face, I was like a little too gruesome for me. I skipped it. I think I'm probably out on the Mondo figures after missing out on Skeletor. I couldn't order Beastman just because the cost and my original He-Man is one of the first few that broke in half. So I think I'm stopping. It's okay. Sometimes I guess you draw the line at the scale. But this figure, big round of applause to Brian Flynn and the team over at Peter 7. Did an incredible job. It's the Jaga I always wanted. And here's your classic V1 version of Jaga, of course, without the belt. It's awesome to have both versions. So he looks great. And if you're so inclined, vintage Jaga is by far my favorite of all. It took me many years to acquire this one, by the way, and I was super, super picky at the one I got, and he cost me quite a pretty penny.
So much doesn't end.
You can probably guess because he's complete, pretty much not very minty condition. The color looks great, and I don't think there's any scratches on him.
The cape looks good.
No mark on it, but you can only imagine. But this was like my holy grail of my vintage Thundercats collection. I don't have any of the vintage vehicles. I don't have the old vintage Cat Slayer. Can't afford any of that.
So this is your grail over Bengali then.
I love Bengali too. I just haven't been able to find one at a decent price.
There was one at the show. I did not ask for the price, but it did not. He saw, but it didn't have the hammer, right?
Yeah, there's a gentleman that does on some of the Facebook pages that I follow, and I think he's over in Europe that have like a huge collection of Thundercats, and he kept trying to sell them, and he had like 4 or 5 Bengalis. I don't remember, and they all looked like they were really good condition, but then he wanted, I don't know, like $300 or $400, and I was like, I just can't pull the trigger on them. So I think someday when I come across one that's at a decent price, eventually I'll get it. But just look at the paint detail on Jaga, and this just the added belt, that little detail alone, just something about it just pulls the whole outfit together, and it just looks great. And with the wrist guards and everything, it just stands out like beautifully.
100%. Wow. Yeah. We could go all night. Like, look how we jumped from G.I. Joe. We jumped from G.I. Joe to Motu to Thundercats just so seamlessly.
I know. That's part of the Sorceress's magic.
I love it. All right.
Awesome. Well, I don't know if we have anything else to cover. I think we've pretty much covered all of this week's news. Ken, why don't you tell everybody what you're working on right now and the exciting things you have coming up on Toy Kennections on your amazing channel for our viewing audience.
Okay, yeah. Just realized this is the first time we've done like a one-on-one stream on Toy Habits. Usually there's a big panel with that includes Michael, Mega J, and maybe even somebody else. But it's fun to be here on the Saturday, sort of like, because this is like your usual time slot, right? That midday Saturday thing. But yeah, you can find me on Toy Kennections just like on the screen there. Sorceress has been on my channel a lot. Michael's definitely been there a few times. A lot of our friends have been there. Some people in the chat have been there. I mean, I just finished History of G.I. Joe in 1985 with Toy Sorceress, her favorite year. Happy to lump her in for future content. And so that came out. I've got History of G.I. Joe 86 queued up. And I went off the beaten path and just completed a video. It hasn't aired yet. For those who are going to watch the Iron Claw movie that airs Christmas week, which is a story of the Texas-based Von Erich family, I did a deep dive on the wrestling family's history. Again, that's completely off the beaten path. It's nothing like my usual toy content. It's a true like deep dive wrestling documentary that runs about 25, 27 minutes long. Literally just finished it in the last 18 hours. And that's the kind of thing I'm working on right now. I've got an extended supercut of all the years of LJN Wrestling Superstars because I finished all 6 years. So I cut all 6 into a documentary style. I plan to air that either right at the end of December before the year turns to 2024 or right at the start of 2024. So there's a lot of stuff coming down the conveyor belt for Toy Kennections.
Can't wait to see that one. Can't wait to see that one.
So
and
subscribe.
You do such a beautiful job at putting together those videos, and you got to subscribe to Toy Kennections. Check Ken's channel out if you haven't done so already. And I love how you have so seamlessly fold in pop culture and the things that are going on in the years that the toys are coming out and how it's relevant to the figures as well. I mean, you just do such an incredible job of seamlessly working in all of that together and what things were relevant to us in those years. Like, for example, the video for the G.I. Joe 1985, and absolutely love it. It looks like, the Baroness has checked it out and absolutely loved it. Great voiceovers. Ken did an awesome job on that. Ken just did an awesome job on that. So make sure to check it out. Make sure to go over and support Ken's channel, because Ken, you are an incredible friend of Toy Habits. Love always chatting with you. I find myself, we always are DMing late at night about all sorts of fun things. So very happy to have you as a co-host today. Thank you for filling in for Michael. And it's just been a lot of fun. And all of you out there in the chat, thanks for joining today. And then Ken, I don't know if you have any parting words before we wrap up.
Just thank you for having me on, and appreciate all the kind words. And we're starting to cross audiences. Like, I'm seeing a lot of the same names in both chats, and just knowing I can rely on Toy Habits all the time, like where you always commend my skill at history videos. I look at your Photoshop work, your thumbnail work, your the speed of how you get stuff up for news. When I've had a day where I've just got my head buried in the sand and 6 hours worth of news comes out, I can just give Toy Habits a scroll for 5 minutes and like mostly catch up, and then come back and read the articles in more detail when I have a bit more time, or we just talk and I catch some information. So I always feel like I'm up to speed, even though I haven't done the work to get up to speed. So like I always say that channels like that go hand in hand. One is like your current news channel, and one is the history channel. You know what I mean? So you got all spectrums of toys over there, and you got Mega J with the news reactions. Yeah. There we go. So thank you. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. I am thrilled to have you on. You are always welcome here, Ken. Thanks for being an awesome friend of the channel. And it's been so much fun chatting about G.I. Joe. Again, I would not have thought of anyone other than you to talk about this subject. So it's been super fun. And I want to thank everybody out there in the chat for joining, giving a big shout out to my partner, Michael. Hope you're having a great time with the family this weekend, and well-deserved rest, because Michael works his butt off. And I want to thank him for everything he does to contribute to both our website and the channel. Couldn't do it without him. So thank you, partner. You are incredible. And with that, we are going to sign off, and can't wait to see you guys either next weekend, or if something burning comes up this week and we feel frisky, we might always pop in with an extra midweek video. We'll see. But in the meantime, we will join you guys all next time. Thanks again. Bye-bye. Okay. Thank you so much.
Oh, no problem, no problem.
That
My,
was
my son kept popping in the room and wondering when we're leaving for dinner. I'm like, well, I got to clean up the room first.